Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Game and we are returning to Democracy 4. So this time I do want to do something very special here, and I do want to turn a country into a dictatorship. So last time around we did play something very fun. We did turn Spain into an utopia, into an absolute technocratic utopia. This time I do want to go for sort of the opposite here and take Canada in particular and turn it into a dictatorship. So sort of the opposite actually what we're doing in the simultaneous suzerain run, where we are trying to turn a country into democracy. This time it's going to be the different approach here. So reason I want to play Canada here is A, we haven't played that before on this channel, and it's an extremely difficult country to play actually. And we could also think about South Korea, but the way I want to structure that is we do want to go for the Patriot membership. We do want to increase, you know, all of the patriotic stuff. So South Korea honestly does have quite a lot of that already, and Canada really doesn't. So yeah, let's pick them. It's also a very nice country, and I do think it fits into our theme of doing sort of the absolute opposite all the time. Let's pick a very, very adaptive name here in this one over here. So, and let's start out with Canada. So let's begin our term in office here. Now, unfortunately, wrapped in the flag, we have triggered that already as part of the Let's Play with France, playing as sort of a religious dictatorship. So we can't really go for an achievement this time around, but I do want to just turn everything up over here. I do want to turn the Patriots very much force, and I do want to basically abolish democracy here, and we'll see at what point we will decide that we have succeeded at that. Now, this is going to be incredibly tough. The first thing and the first big item that we should notice on this screen over here is our popularity. Our popularity is basically nil. Nobody likes us. I don't know why they voted us into power in the first place, but here we are, and it's jack all. It's just nobody. They hate us. The entire country actively hates us. A lot of our ministers do very much hate us already, and that's just not a very conspicuous start that we've got over here. So yeah, that's going to be one of the main issues that we're going to face. The other issue is a lot of the things that we want to increase and introduce are probably going to upset the Liberals. And you can see Liberals, well, firstly, they're not that happy at all. They're mildly satisfied. That's not great. And there's a lot of them. 76% of the population does identify themselves as liberal, so sort of on the social scale. And that's not a good start for us. Because again, this is probably going to be our most antagonistic group, and it's the third largest group in our country after everyone and after motorists. So we will need to address these crises before we can go into all-out dictatorship mode and do various things over here, because otherwise we are not going to earn enough political power to get into a sustainable sort of setup for a dictatorship. Right, so that being said, let's see what we can do to address our popularity. I think that's a goal for the first term, and then in the second term we're going to sort of turn and show our true colors here. So popularity, why is it low? Well, you can see pretty much everyone hates us for one reason or another. Only the poor and the state employees and the retired actually do like us at all, and the socialists. But that's about it, and that's really a big issue here. So let's see what we can do. I think one of the most interesting bits here is this one, motorists. There is a lot of motorists in Canada. I don't think I've ever seen that much membership. So yeah, 80% or so of the population here is identifying as motorists. And they're not very happy. And the reason for that is that a lot of traffic congestion. So we will need to address that. Curiously enough, Canadian geography do actually help in that, but it's still not good enough. So I think that's one of the avenues where we can go a little bit ahead and maybe just help out a little bit on various fronts. So I think, curiously enough, motorists are going to be, for this time around, at least one of the most important voter groups that we can appease over here. Now, I don't want to go all in on that. We could address their specific concerns, so traffic congestion, in various different ways. We're going to talk about that in a second. We've got a couple of the typical problems here, alcohol abuse and ghettos. We've got respiratory disease, the all-time classic, which again is largely driven by car usage and actually tobacco usage to a much larger degree than normal. Interesting. well, we'll need to do something about that too. We've got obesity, as you would expect, that is driving up healthcare demand. And lastly, healthcare demand does lead to hospital overcrowding. We are just above that, which is a shame. We do need to bring that down because otherwise, retired people and parents pretty much hate the hospital overcrowding. So we will need to address that in some fashion. In terms of foreign policy, we have a cyber warfare campaign going against us. Again, that does need to come down. GDP is suffering, crime is increasing, and we've got an illegal immigration crisis, which conservatives and especially the patriots do not like. Speaking of conservatives, interestingly enough, conservatives really do actively hate us. So this is kind of a very liberal country at the moment. Let's look at the economy. We've got pollution going on. That's not great. We've got the gig economy. That's okay. We've got environmental protests, and lastly we have an uncompetitive economy, which honestly is not the literal worst. I mean, GDP does suffer a little bit, but you can see GDP is actually kind of high. So I think it's all right. Nevertheless, we do have a 9% deficit also on our hands here. So yeah, we'll need to address that too. Right, so just a couple of issues here that we've got to solve. I think we're going to start with a motorist. I just think it would be helpful to do something about them. And I can see us doing various different things over here. So we could go for new car subsidies. That would lead to more electric car, less respiratory disease, better environment, better GDP, more car usage, but that is all sort of maxed out anyway. And oil demand would go down. It would cost us some money and a lot of political power, but I do think it might just be useful. The other alternatives, or rather supplementary things that we could do, is congestion charging. That would drive down traffic congestion by a lot, and I think that's something that we do need to do. The other alternative is to increase road building here. But the downside is that would screw with the environmentalists, and it wouldn't necessarily. It would increase car usage just a little bit because we are pretty much maxed out there. Right. That being said, I think there's also clean fuel subsidies, right? Yeah, sort of similar thing as the new car subsidies, but I think this one is a little bit better because it drives electric car transmission. So we're going to do that. We are going to make motorists a lot happier here. Everyone else is sort of doing sort of the same. GDP, just a slight uptick here, but it's okay. Now, we do have a single political point left here. I think community policing might be an interesting way to go. Smart meter program is also useful. So, how much does smart meter do? It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. So yeah, we are a little bit kind of a funny kind of political or dictatorship already, since we are mostly focused on actually environmental stuff. But yeah, I just think we do need to bring that up in the meantime. Yeah, you know what? Let's do community policing. It does get rid... No, it's just barely any change here. So yeah, what we're going to do then is we're going to increase the smart meter program. Just a small change here, but I think a decent one. And let's see what the stuff has in store for us. Okay, child labor law, interesting. So I don't think... Yeah, you know what? Let's criminalize that. GDP is going to come down a little bit, but sort of everyone likes that, and I think that was a very good choice because our popularity has increased here. This is not going to last until the next election, but at least it means that our political capital is not immediately collapsing over here, and that I think is a very good thing for us. Now, we do need to do a couple of other changes, and one of the changes that I do want to do is to the police force. The reason for that is, well, it does bring down crime and violent crime, which is nice, but most importantly, it does bring up the approval rating of conservatives, state employees, and it does bring down alcohol abuse as well. So I think this is one of the universally good policies, and genuinely no one is upset over this. So just a better funded police force, that's always going to be useful. It does cost us $1 billion to raise that, but I do think it is worthwhile. So let's do that, and then let's also go to the intelligence services. Now this one is slightly different. It does decrease our approval rating among the liberals by quite a bit actually, but it does also potentially get rid of the cyber warfare. So I think that might be useful. And then lastly, I do want to fund prisons a little bit better because, again, this is liked by liberals and conservatives, so that's useful. But yeah, one of the reasons I want to bring conservatives up here in their approval rating is because we want to slowly turn people away from being liberal into being more conservative and thereby more open to our long-term ideas. But that is going to have to wait a while. Right, I do think we actually want tobacco usage to go down simply because it's one of the major drivers here of respiratory disease and healthcare demand, which again drives hospital overcrowding, and I really want to get rid of that before the election to get the retired and everyone else on board a little bit. Right, so let's do that. I think we are going to attend the play here, the LGBT play, because it is going to make liberals a little bit more happy, and I do need them. They are one of the largest voter groups here, so I do think it's just generally important that we do that. Right, actually 16 political power. I think we are starting to earn a little bit less here, but popularity, it's a little bit better, but it's really still not close to where it needs to be. So yeah, well, let's do congestion charging because I still think the motorists, they are more happy with us, but they could be a lot happier, I think. So if we brought down traffic congestion, now notice that this is currently a minus 22%. So let's go to congestion charging. Let's implement that. Now, motorists are not going to like that. They actually hate that by 9%. But this is going to drive down traffic congestion by a lot more, so I think that is going to be quite useful like that. Good. I think that's a good start over here. Let's go to prisons before I forget them. That does make the liberals quite a bit more happy. 7%, that's kind of nice. Conservatives also kind of okay, so that's a good change, I think. Leaves us with very little political power, but I think it's okay to do that. Work safety, no, this is fine. Right, how is respiratory disease? It's just the tiniest of all dents over there. This is hopefully going to come down by a bit, yeah, but just a little bit over time. So it just has a very, very minor impact. But I guess it's okay. Right, let's go to the next thing over here. Oh, there was actually a green thing. Oh, and someone is abandoning us. This is not good either. Huh, and this must be a bug. So I think this is actually only meant to be the case for South Korea. So I'm really intrigued to see how that is going to work. Well, whether we be triggered by that. Oh, and we on the other hand do have the Northwestern Passage, and thereby more international trade, which is good. It does bring down food prices, but it does bring up air travel. That's a kind of weird coincidence that we have the Northwest Passage and that does lead to more air travel, even though it should actually only relate to shipping. But oh my. There we go. Fine. Okay, alcohol abuse. You should be coming down here with the police funding, right? Police force here. That brings it down by a further 5%. That's good. That's good. Because that does lead to less healthcare demand and thereby, hopefully at some point, get rid of the hospital overcrowding. Okay, that's fine. We've done the police force. We could do various other things. And I do think we should try to look for a couple of things also to reduce the percentage here of the religious population, because they really, really, really actively hate us. They're probably the most hateful group of all of them for us right now. I think tech grants might be one of the things to do, right? Yeah, that is going to bring down religious membership over time by a lot. It is going to increase productivity and technology, so it's a generally good thing to do. It does cost us quite a bit of money, but I guess it's okay. So speaking of money, we do still run a deficit. And I think one of the things that are running this, are driving that deficit, is this over here. The oil drilling subsidies. I don't think a lot of countries do that. It does screw with the environmentalists. It does drive up GDP, so that's a good thing. But other than that, it's really not that important. So I think we're going to simply cancel this policy to get our deficit under control a little bit more. Capitalists are not going to like that, but actually environmentalists should love that quite a bit. There are going to be more of them though, which is not great. But I think it's going to be okay. Oh, actually our environment basically is non-existent. That is not good. We do need to bring that up. Let's go to recycling over here. That should make everyone a little bit happier. And that's basically all of our political capital gone. We are not going to make any comment here because we are not actually in favor of democracy. Ooh, I do not want to get a doctor strike, but we'll see. It seems like we are safe for the moment. Yeah, we are very low here on that, but I guess that's... Yeah, you're gonna hate us for a while here. That's not good. It's really not. Canada is really a tough country. Our popularity here is still extremely low. That being said, the alcohol abuse is going to go away. That's good. Ghettos, yeah, you're still around. Respiratory disease, it's starting to make some dent over there. Hospital overcrowding is an issue. We do actually have a surplus over here. We are still having a lot of obesity to deal with. Not great. How's cyber warfare looking? You should be going down here, right, with our intel services? Yeah, and you are. So that should increase GDP over here, which is going to increase our income further. So that's nice. Now I'd really like to get rid of this effect here. Retired people and parents. How many people are that actually? So retired are not that many. That's just 20%. And parents are... So yeah, around 30%. It's around 50% of the population who's affected by that. And they are affected extremely strongly. I think it's one of the things that we really want to get rid of. So I think the way to do here is to do healthcare vouchers, because the hospital overcrowding is driven by both the private healthcare service and the state healthcare service. We could increase this by a lot, and that would be nice, but it would drive down private healthcare, so it does have a crowd out effect. And sometimes it is very useful to sort of strike the middle ground there and have a public and a private healthcare system. And healthcare vouchers are bringing up private healthcare without overcrowding everyone else. It's going to make people less socialist and therefore more capitalist, but I think it's okay. Oh, it's extremely expensive though. It's extremely expensive. 25 billion. If we fund it to the max extent. It would make everyone a lot happier. How much more do we need of this to go away? So that's what, up to 40%? Okay, that's I think 50%, so that's, let's say, 1 and 2. So if we're increasing state healthcare service by 2 percentage points, this would drop by 1 percentage point. So we need to drop state or increase state healthcare services by around 20%. Sorry, not state. I'm looking at private. Yeah, but the sort of slope here is going to be the same. So we need to increase this by around 20% for the hospital overcrowding to go away. We could defund it afterwards, right? So it might be a temporary boost that we are going to make here. And we are going to earn a little bit more money once our GDP is increased because the cyber warfare is gone, which will go away. I'm quite positive about that. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go ahead then and go with this. So I want state private healthcare services to go up by 20%. That's around it. 13 billion. That's quite a lot. It is going to increase our deficit by a long shot. Okay, we're going to keep it at 13 percentage points here. And that does basically eat up all of our political power, but that's fine. How are motorists looking? So we did introduce congestion charging, right? So traffic congestion should start to come down here, which should make you a little bit happier. Hopefully that is going to be how it works out. Stricter driving tests. Yeah, we are not going to make any changes here because motorists are going to be upset otherwise, and there's so many of them. So yeah. Big budget deficit. I am somewhat concerned about that, but Yeah, you can see it dropping, and that's good. That's coming up, and it is going to go up further. So once hospital overcrowding is gone, I can then go ahead and reduce the voucher costs here substantially, and that should save our budget. So it's a temporary measure, but I think it's going to be an okay one. And once, yeah, the alcohol abuse is going to go away too, so that is going to be helpful in that regard. Obesity is also driving up healthcare demand, right? Yeah. So we should try to get rid of obesity. What's driving that? Yeah, we do have free school meals and stuff. I mean, we don't, but yeah, let's do that. It does cost us some political power. Can we go for a junk food tax? Yeah, let's do that. It is going to drive down obesity by quite a lot. Young people hate it, but I think it's going to be alright. That combined should hopefully get rid of the hospital overcrowding, which in turn is going to drive up our popularity, which in turn should be helpful to some extent. Right, okay, this is going to go away. Ghettos. Liberals hate that, and there are a lot of them. But it does actually reduce immigration, which I think is going to be useful. Unless we never gonna want to get rid of this. Well, I think it's gonna be... No, this doesn't actually affect ghettos. Okay, fine. I somehow thought it would. Okay, that's alright though. Right, what else can we do then? We could do the clean car subsidies. Not for that amount of political power though. So let's just briefly check whether there's anything that we really want to pick up over here. You know what? Let's throw a bone to the parents with the cyberbullying campaign, and let's... You know what? Let's actually start with what we are set out to do, and we are going to do a National Armed Forces Week. Very low cost in terms of political power. Patriot membership is going to go up. That's actually going to be a bad thing for us because Patriots right now don't really like us. They're going to like us a little bit more, but there's going to be more of them. Ultimately, I think that might have been a net loss. But combined with other policies, it might be a good idea still. Right, alcohol abuse is gone, but we do have a water shortage, which farmers hate. Interesting. State Water Company is decreasing that. So, if you had better funding, this would be gone. Got it. Plant-based diets, that might decrease it over time. Food price, I'm not too concerned about that because we do have the Northwestern Passage. You want biofuel subsidies. Yeah, we do need to be concerned about you. That's gone. Okay, fine. Any other situation? Yeah, just North Korea. I don't think that's going to affect us at all because we probably need to be our country. How many farmers are there actually? Only 11%. Honestly, the water shortage might not be our top priority here. If we did this, that would certainly go away. Would not be that expensive. Capitalists would hate us for it. Corruption would actually go up a little bit. It's not that worthwhile. Okay, what I am concerned about though is our ministers over here. We do need to drop these guys, I think. So you should love us. We've done so much for the motorists and the environmentalists. Why do you hate us? Why is your loyalty so bad? I mean, both of these groups are not that happy now, but we've certainly seen an uptick here. Stricter driving tests, yeah, we were going for you on that one. Traffic congestion has come down, so it should be helpful to you. Motorists, yeah, I mean, net, we didn't really do that much for them, but it did bring that down a little bit. Yeah, we do need to be more helpful for you. Who are you? Liberal and self-employed. You know what? I do think it is time to reshuffle our cabinet and at least fire these two people who really, really actively hate us. And honestly, poor and liberal, we're going to get rid of you too. Youth and capitalist, motorists, you're going to be still fine. Yeah, I think you're alright. Let's reshuffle that cabinet and get new people here. And let's see, so yeah, let's sort them by loyalty. Parents and self-employed. I feel parents might be a lot easier to get on board. How about you? You've zero experience, but a little bit more in terms of campaigning. Still, I think for economy, there's a lot to be said about you. Public services, then. That is you. Environmentalists. Motorist liberal? No, I just like liberals. Ethnic minorities and liberals? No, 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 no. Socialists and motorists. You're very good at campaigning. You're hired. And transport. That's an awkward combination. Let's pick you. I think you're right. You're good at campaigning. You're decently experienced. You have a lot of loyalty here. That's fine. It did cost us a lot of political power to do that, but still, I think it's useful to do that once in a while, and go with that. Okay, fine. Prisoner tagging. That's all right. Yeah, we don't need any other of these specific policies here. I do think there are still a couple of useful ones here, like keep the country tidy. Telecommuting initiative is also very useful. Does drive down car usage, and parents I do love it. Even trade unions love it. Let's go for it. Right, there we go. Commuters actually are going to be reduced, but they don't really love us anyway. So yeah, I think that's fine. Let's see. Whaling. We're going to keep the ban in place. Environmentalists and liberals like that, so I think it's going to be alright. We do need to keep our loyalty here and our popularity on board. We do actually need to improve it by a lot, but you can see for the first time here, motorists are actually shown in green. And that, I think, is a fantastic, fantastic trend. That is exactly what we need. You're still running a deficit, and I was sure that the hospital overcrowding would go away, which it does now. So that does mean next time around we can address the deficit here. And that's going to be very, very useful. How about the obesity? I would have thought that the junk food tax is going to bring that down. Ooh, it now has an implementation time of 10 turns. That's quite a long time. Still, it's one of the best policies that we have to address that. Alcohol abuse has gone down, so that should actually drive down the healthcare demand, shouldn't it? Yeah, just barely so. Yeah, technology is a big driver of that, and immigration. We will need to be mindful about immigration because a lot of the policies that we are going to implement, ultimately at least, are not going to be that popular with ethnic minorities. Who are actually not a minority anymore, I think, because they are 48% of the population. Right, that being said, I think now is a very good place to put in a cut. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. Do let me know your thoughts down below, and let me know whether you think we are off to a good start here, or whether things might turn out horribly for us. That being said, thanks, and hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.